Hey, welcome back to part two with Mercedes Hale from Broken to Blessed. Last time we explored some of Mercedes Broken, but now tonight we're going to finish off with her Blessed and how she overcame those obstacles and is in a thriving, loving place right now, and just a joy and a light to the world. So Mercedes, I appreciate you doing part two with me, and feel free to, jump off from wherever you'd like to.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Daryl. So if you see me looking down, it's because I wrote a few things out. I'm not reading, from a script. I want to keep it as authentic as possible, but there were a few very important things that I didn't want to forget and go off on track and stuff. So, but it's beautiful to share your past and the traumas and the things that you've overcome, but it's not a place that you want to live. My blessing has been living in the solution and living in the things that I applied that brought me freedom, to my life and completely changed me 180 in every way possible. So one of the things I wanted to talk about was accountability. So in the past, everything that happened to me was always somebody else's fault, and some of the things that happened, they weren't my fault, but there were a lot of things that I can look back now and I can see that I put myself in that situation. I chose to hang out with those people, knowing what they did and what kind of people they were. I chose to put myself in situations by using drugs and alcohol and weakening my judgment, and when I was able to take that power back and take that responsibility, I was able to start changing my life. Because if I blame everything on everybody else and all those situations, it takes away my power and there's nothing I can do about it. It takes away my control over the situation. So being able to own that and say, hey, I made this choice and this happened because of it, I was able to make better choices and create a better life. And then
Yeah, I always say that it's okay to pause or rest, but you just can't camp there. And some people want to play the victim throughout their life. I also say, we don't get to determine the cards that are dealt to us, but we get to determine how we play them. And
yeah,
some want to play the victim, and some, like you, want to take some accountability for some portion of that and where they move forward. So I think that's a very important delineation to make. So thank you for that.
I agree. I agree. And then also another big one for me was the fact that happiness is my choice. That was a life-changing thing. Once I was able to absorb that and truly apply that to my life in all areas, I would give my happiness away to everything and everyone. The relationship I had, if we weren't doing good or they were upset, then I was upset. If I didn't get that job or move into that place or have this car or didn't get to have that certain experience that I wanted, then I let it bring me down and I let it completely just take away all my joy. So all my happiness relied on circumstances and other people's feelings instead of making the choice where, okay, yeah, this happened and that happened and that's okay, but I'm not going to let it steal my joy. No matter what, no matter where you are in life, no matter how amazing of a person you are or how hard you try to only have good people in your life, you will run into people that are angry and bitter, and they will do things that you didn't provoke them to do, but you can't let it bring you down. You got to hold on to that joy. And once I realized that that was my choice, like, it seems like something so common and like common sense, like, yeah, of course you're in control of your happiness, but if you really think about it, so many people, they give their power away to others, and you don't really I didn't really understand that before, but now, like, when something happens and it's not in my favor, I get to sit there and think, instead of reacting right away or getting upset right away, I get to think, how do I want to perceive this? How do I want to handle this? How do I want to react to this? How do I want to think about this? Because that's my choice, my perception, all of those things are my choice. And the more I apply that, the easier it gets. And the more I'm able to maintain a very positive, happy outlook on life. I try to stay as optimistic as possible. I stay in reality, but I stay as optimistic as possible. And then, no one is exempt from problems. I thought when I changed my life and I moved down here that everything was going to be rainbows and sunshine, and everything was going to fall into place, which a lot of things did. But I thought life was going to be perfect and I wasn't going to have problems anymore because all of my problems were related to my past life. And that wasn't what happened at all. I went through trials and tribulations. I still had other traumas that came up, but the difference was I didn't go fill a void to deal with those issues. I stayed clean and sober. That I had a couple relapses, but once I learned how to healthily deal with those situations, I had a better outcome.
They say that we don't ever relieve ourselves from choices. We just grow to be able to handle bigger problems. So instead of handling the problems that you were, you're becoming the type of person who can now handle a bigger problem or more complex problem, because now you have the tools within you to handle that bigger problem. Positivity doesn't prevent, us from, having these struggles. It's just how we handle them. Because like we said before, toxic positivity is just thinking that everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows, but authentic positivity is trying to find that silver lining and the solution in your way out of it. So once you take that difference, now your outlook's different. And that goes back to your vulnerability, or excuse me, your accountability, because you're not giving your power to somebody else. You're being accountable for your joy and your happiness.
Exactly. And I've run into so many people, and I used to be this kind of person where I had a problem for every solution, and I look back at that now, and that's not a place that I ever want to be, because I was stuck. I was stuck all the time. And I see people like that now, and it's like, I used to give so much of my energy away to try and fix people and help them. After I was able to, learn and grow from something, I wanted to turn around and give it to everybody else and make them see, and it doesn't work that way. You have to want it. You have to be willing to do, whatever it takes. And when you have those people that have a problem for every solution, even when it's family and really close people, it sucks, but you have to step away because it'll take you down too, and you remain open. You let them know that you'll always be there, but it's better than getting dragged down with them. And when they're ready to receive that, then you can come back and, try and help them to find the solution in life. So, but yeah, and then another huge one is a big one for me, to truly love yourself and to treat yourself as somebody that you love. My whole life, like, I feel like I've been a very, giving person. Even when I had nothing and I was homeless and I was messed up on drugs and alcohol, I still tried to give whatever little bit I had, and I wouldn't take care of myself. And throughout me being bulimic, which is a tough one, because like, you're doing this to your body, and it's something that people don't talk about. It's more common to talk about drugs than it is to talk about eating disorders. There's more help out there for addiction with drugs and alcohol than there is for bulimia. But it's hard to describe, but when you're so defeated that you're abusing your body in the way that you do with bulimia, a lot of people do it out of shame. And it's hard to even it was hard for me to look at myself in the mirror, And so I never fully grasped the to truly love yourself part. And I never understood that you need to fill yourself up so much that there's plenty to give to others. I figured I could just give to everybody until I was ran dry. But you can't drink from an empty well. And when I moved down here and, began to learn all these different things and apply them to my life, the more I did that, the more I began to love myself, the more I began to understand what it is to take care of yourself. And I learned that it's not selfish. And the majority of my life, I thought it was selfish to put yourself first, to take care of yourself. No, you always give to others. You always take care of them first. And that's just a lie, you know? And I drained myself so much that way. And I wish somebody would have told me that sooner, that it's okay to take time to yourself. It's okay, you know, to treat yourself like your own best friend, to make sure that you're good enough and that you are mentally okay, and fill yourself up with so much positivity and love that you have plenty to give others and you never run out. And it's a consistent thing I have to do every single day. I get to every single day. I listen to positive videos. I have my meditation in the morning. Um, I do things throughout the day that I know will bring joy to me. I even sing and dance in my car with the top down and not caring what anybody thinks around, you know, but those things bring me so much joy. And I think about positive things. And then when, you know, little stupid things happen, like I stub my toe or I spill my coffee or something like that, I'm already so happy those things don't really affect me. I don't let it ruin my day, you know?
Well, I say this all the time, and you're exactly right. You cannot give from an empty cup. And too many people try to give and give and give, and they think that they're being magnanimous and generous by doing that, when in fact they're being kind of selfish, because you have more to give if you're full. And you're right, it is a daily practice, because our cup has a hole in it every single day that needs to be filled. And we're supposed to give from the abundance and the overflow, not from the stuff that's on the bottom.
Exactly.
If you're giving from the bottom of the cup, you're just giving the crap that's left over. Like when you drink tea and all the soot's in the bottom, that's what you're giving if you're not like filling your cup and giving from the overflow. What did you do to learn that?
Oh man, I think I just got to the breaking point where I was in a past relationship. I was running myself dry every day. I would make breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and keep the place spotless and do everything for the partner I had at the time, like even make them resumes and fold their socks, and they didn't have to lift a finger. And at the same time, I was taking care of a newborn, going to school full time, you know, and I looked like a mess. I was home all day working full time online and all that. And I finally just got to a point where I was so drained. I didn't even know who I was anymore. And I had lost myself in taking care of everything and everyone else. And I had a major breaking point, which is what led me to when I chose to relapse. And I see that now. And I learned to not let life get to that point again, you know, and that was a big learning curve for me. So I knew how to not repeat past mistakes. But and then after that, I was like, you know, no, I'm going to take care of myself. I need to put myself first so that I can truly be there for others. And so I have more to give. You know, I wasn't a positive person back then. I was very drained. I was wore out, and I wouldn't even wanted to be my friend back then, you know? And just being able to smile at somebody, you know, and give them positive vibes and a little bit of happiness, that gives so much. And people underestimate that so much. And back then, I couldn't give that to anybody. I couldn't even give it to myself. So today, life is so much better today. And it was baby steps, you know, it took practice. And I let it absorb me, and I just manifested and became that person, that happy, joyous, free, loving myself person that I wanted to be.
Well, you and I haven't officially worked together, but you sound like a lot of the things that I help my clients with, because whoever has helped you is got you on the right track. And one of the things that I always say is that if you talked to other people like you talk to yourself, would you be your friend? So I like that you had, you know, that realization, because we are often so hard on ourselves. Like, would you say that to your best friend? Would you say that to your grandmother? Would you say that to your, like, no. So why are you saying it to you? Right. So I appreciate that. You know, that's where you are coming from, is trying to find the self-love which comes from inside. Now, I will say, from following you online and from our friendship online, I can see the change in the growth in you exponentially, even in the couple years that we've been friends. But a while back, you and your boyfriend had a flood in your apartment, and you had like total disaster and chaos. And instead of like pissing and moaning about it, you actually made it fun.
Yeah.
Can you share that story?
Oh my gosh. So I literally just got done scrubbing my place from top to bottom, dusting, vacuuming everything. And water started pouring in through our fan and spraying everywhere. And it came pouring through because our roof to our unit was all messed up. And it literally poured in so thick that there was an inch of water over our carpet.
Oh my.
And we moved everything that we could. We did everything that we could. The rest was out of our, control. And we called the restoration team to come and help us and stuff. But in the meantime, we ended up taking a video and like dancing around in the little puddle. And people thought I was crazy, like I was just losing it. But maybe I was. I don't know. But it was fun. And I've learned that things like that don't matter as much to me. And I understand everybody has experienced different things in life. What one person's challenge may be, another person's might not be as extreme, and what's hard for one might not be hard for another. But for me, I feel personally, just because I've been through some pretty devastating and traumatic things that I never wish to go back to, things like that they really don't matter that much. Today I have a better outlook and perception on what means most to me and what I will let affect me or take away my joy.
That's
So,
beautiful.
but yeah,
What
I'm
else you got?
one of the things that with the positivity and loving yourself, healing throughout the whole process of healing is how I learned all these different things. I feel that in the past, when I was a toxic person, I attracted other toxic people, and I allowed things that I should have never allowed. And when I began to start the process of healing and, taking action in every form possible to better myself and learn things and actually apply them to my life, that was when everything started to become a lot better in my life. And I noticed that the right people came to me at the right time. I heard things that I needed to hear at the right time. And whether they planted a seed or they helped, manifest what I was meant to become, it all tied in together. And I honestly believe that that's why the person that I'm with today, it's the healthiest relationship I've ever had. Like I dream of the way we are, the way we're best friends, and the way we communicate so much, and we don't fight or argue. Like it's just a very peaceful, happy, healthy relationship. And I didn't believe that that was even possible. I was told in the past that I was a fairy tale girl and that to expect those things, wasn't real. Or I was told that I wasn't good enough and I wouldn't ever be able to attract somebody like that. And, maybe in the past I wasn't before, I began to heal from my traumas and attract better. But through time and through, dedication and discipline and just learning to love myself and be the best version of myself, I was able to attract that. And I feel like that's why our paths cross. We might not have worked, super close together, like as a personal coach, but you and I have interacted, and every time like I leave feeling better. You're a very uplifting, positive person and the exact kind of influence I want in my life. You are a winner. You are somebody that brings joy to people's lives and can help people transform and can help them heal and help them, start a new life or heal from traumas. And so thank you. Thank you for the interactions that we have had and the positive influence that you have had in my life, which has been a rippling effect and affected others. So you've affected in a positive way far more than just me, just so you know.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I do believe that we leave a ripple effect wherever we go. And like you were saying, what you accept is what others will do to you. So if you have your boundaries, right, then those are clear on what's tolerated and what's not. And what's not tolerated won't be in your orb, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly. That's
go
what I
ahead.
was going to bring up next.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So, so you teach people how to treat you. What you accept is what they will do. And that was probably one of the toughest things I ever had to accept and learn. In, past relationships, one specifically, we were on and off for almost 10 years. And there was a lot of, drug use and physical abuse, verbal, mental, a lot of cheating, infidelity, and just every kind of toxic form you could think of.
Mhm.
And it basically started from the beginning and I allowed it. Um, I knew about like illegal activity that they were doing. And when I left them, I ended up taking them back. So which means, I accepted it. When I caught them cheating on me numerous times, we would separate. And then, they would promise, oh, I'm going to change. That'll never happen again. And I would take them back. And literally, that's insanity, doing the same thing over, expecting different results because nothing had changed. Maybe we would move state or move town, but that's really the only change that would happen. And I allowed that every single time. And like to fully grasp that, when I finally did and I left for the last time, um, they were, shocked that I didn't come back because I had every time before. And I finally just got to a point where I was clear headed enough. And I had, just moved here and changed my life and, started learning all these things to better myself and started to apply them to my life. And I said, you know what? No, I'm not accepting less than what I deserve anymore. I'm worth more than that. And the day that I finally decided that, I gained a zero tolerance for BS,
Nice.
basically. And ever since then, like I got into a couple relationships, but once I saw that it was toxic and they were either not faithful or abusive, I immediately left. I didn't stick around. I didn't, listen to broken promises and lip service. I paid attention to action,
Mhm.
which was hard for me to do because I came from a place growing up where I was always with somebody. I was never single from like the moment I was 12 on. My worst fear was being alone and unwanted. And so by the time I was done with one relationship, literally the next day, I would be in another and
Mhm.
another toxic relationship. And I never had that time to heal in between. And I feel like the reason I was able to have a healthy relationship now was because after the last toxic relationship, I spent time alone and I worked on myself and I healed from all the things in that past relationship so that I didn't drag them into the one I have today. So I
Mhm.
didn't, so every time something happened, I wouldn't think, oh my God, they're cheating on me like the last person. I better leave them before they hurt me. And I know that's so common with women. I have a lot of girlfriends that go through a lot of, painful situations like that I've gone through. And after, they leave somebody, I'm like, you know what? No, take time to yourself, work on yourself. That's the best thing you could do right now. Because the more you heal and the more you better yourself, the better you will attract. They'll just naturally gravitate to you. I don't know, and it's not hocus pocus. It's scientifically proven where attention
Right.
goes, energy flows.
Yep.
We literally draw matching vibes to us, I guess you could say. I'm sure there's a better way to say it, but, and I truly feel that because I spent that time to work on myself, I was able to attract a healthier relationship.
That's the thing that a lot of people, men and women, miss is that they relationship hop. And that, in my belief, is self-worth because people are trying to fill a void externally by being with somebody else, and being alone scares the crap out of them because A, they don't want to deal with what they're dealing with, or B, they're not sure of who they are without somebody in their life. They've given all their power and their self-worth to external forces. So finding that time to heal, you can't do that if you're, you know, always just relationship jumping. And I've told clients before, I said, the person who is meant to be with you is out there preparing themselves just like you are. They're out there healing, they're out there growing, they're out there being a better version of who they are, so that when you guys meet, it's right, because both are whole instead of two halves. Right?
Exactly. That's the big one. Is so many people, like, they think, oh, they're my other half. And it's like, no, you're two whole people coming together to better yourselves. And some people, like myself, you're so afraid of being alone that you lower your standards and you accept things that are completely unacceptable because you don't want to be alone, and because you want what you're used to, or you're afraid of new things or the unknown. But when you get to a point when you're happy with yourself and you're happy to be alone, you're not lonely, you're just alone,
Right.
a freedom in that, because you won't settle for less than what you deserve. The only thing that can pull you away from the great life you've created with you yourself is somebody phenomenal that adds to it and is on the same level as you. And you guys just kind of go onto a path, and you help each other grow, and you grow together, and you learn from each other. And I can't even express how grateful I am for the relationship I have today. Like, this is literally a dream come true. I was told that this life, this relationship, this everything, that it didn't exist, or that I wasn't worthy enough for it. So when people tell you that, or you hear negative talk from others, don't believe it. You create your future. You're so much more powerful than you realize. Your thoughts, your actions, you create everything. Nobody else creates it for you. And once you realize that and you take your power back, you become the victor, not the victim.
Absolutely. And
Very
someone told me once that taking your ex back is like going to a garage sale and buying your own crap back. It's like,
exactly,
there's a reason you're getting rid of it, right?
exactly. And then I guess the end note, sharing your experience, strength, and hope, which is, what I'm trying to do with this video, and was the whole point of this. I learned that when you learn something and you grow from it and it betters your life, you're supposed to reach back and grab the person behind you and lift them up. And if it wasn't for amazing women and people in my life doing that, I wouldn't know what I know. I wouldn't have learned what I've learned. I learned things the hard way, yes, but I had women in my life that gave me the solution. That I told them about my life experiences and what I was going through, and they said, hey, this worked for me, it could work for you, you should try this suggestion. And then I did, and life got better. And now it's my responsibility to reach back and give that knowledge to somebody else. And it's up to others what they choose to do with it. Even if it's only planting a seed and they're not ready yet, at least it's in there. And I'm grateful to be in a place right now where I'm able to do that, because not too many years ago, I was the one begging for help and information, and I had the gift of desperation, and I needed a new way of life, and I was hungry for absolutely anything. And if I can make it to where I'm at so far today, anybody can. I have a long ways to go. I will never be perfect. I accept that. I don't want to be perfect. I just want to keep being better than I am the day before. I want to keep learning and keep growing. It's a never ending process. And the more I learn and grow, the more I will be sharing it with others.
Well, it takes a lot of courage to step out of your trauma and share it, and to have the voice, especially a voice as strong as yours has become. Your broken was pretty broken, and your blessed is going to be even more blessed. You are truly what I envisioned this podcast to be about: giving a voice to the voiceless and a platform for them to share their message, so that it can become a survival guide for others behind them. And you totally embody that. And I admire your strength and your courage, and it takes, a lot of both of those to do this. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I do, I want to give you two opportunities. First off, is there any other pieces that you want to touch upon?
No, I think I pretty much covered it all. It's a good thing I wrote a little checklist.
Secondly, I am asking each one of my guests. I know I named this podcast a Warrior Spirit, and I know what it means to be a warrior and to step out into that. What does a warrior and a warrior spirit mean to you?
Someone that doesn't give up through all the trials and tribulations and all the hits and all the problems and setbacks, and no matter what, they persevere and they overcome and they give it their all, and they don't give up, and they keep trying to better themselves even when all odds are against them. And usually somebody that's had to overcome a lot, but they still persevere. And I know a lot of people in my life like that.
I think that's how I envision it as well, except for I will add that it's the people who have overcome, but still have a loving, gracious heart to be able to reach behind and pull those with them. Because our trials and our tribulations can make us bitter and hard, or they can make us strong and helpful to others. So I think that's why I view you as a warrior spirit as well. So
Thank you, Daryl.
any last words?
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. And I look forward to seeing all the other warrior spirits that are going to be on your podcast. And yeah, it's a great platform that you offer the voiceless to have a voice and to share their experience, strength, and hope. And I hope this transforms lives. I hope it goes far and wide. And even if one person's life is changed by this, then it was a job well done. So thank you, Daryl, for this opportunity.
I appreciate it. Mercedes, you have a blessed new year, and I look forward to seeing the continued growth.
Thank you. You too.
Bye.